the night before my cousin's wedding, I found out something that made my hands go completely cold. My mother, without asking me, without telling me, without a single word, had given away my wedding dress. Not an old dress, not something I had forgotten about. My wedding dress, the one I had saved for. The one I had picked out myself, the one that still had my memories sewn into every inch of it. Gown given to my cousin for her wedding the next morning. Now, most people in that moment would cry. It would scream, would beg their mother to fix it. I did none of those things. I picked up my phone. I found the venue's number and I made one call. And what happened at that wedding the next day, nobody saw coming, not my cousin, not my mother. Not a single guest. Stay with me, this whole story, start to finish, in the next Ursur's Minutes. First, let me tell you about the dress, because you need to understand what this dress actually meant to me. I got married 3 years ago. It was not a big fancy wedding. We kept it simple. Small gathering, close family. We did not have a huge budget. But the one thing I had decided, the one thing I had been firm about, was my dress. I had seen it in a boutique window 6 months. Before my wedding, I had stopped walking the moment I saw it. Just stopped completely. It was ivory and gold, hand embroidered, the kind of dress that takes weeks to make. The kind you don't find twice. It was completely out of my budget at that time. So I went home and I saved every spare amount for 4 months. I skipped things I wanted. I said no to outings. I ate lunch at home instead of outside. 4 months later, I went back to that boutique and counted out every note myself and bought that dress. I wore it on my wedding day. I felt beautiful in a way I had never felt before. Not because of the dress alone, but because of everything that dress represented. My own effort, my own saving, my own choice. After my wedding, I wrapped it carefully in the boutique's original bag, tissue paper, sealed carefully. I put it in the back of my wardrobe. I had this idea, someday my daughter might want to see it, or wear it, or just know that her mother had chosen something and fought for it herself. That dress was not just fabric, it was a piece of my story, and my mother gave it away. And without asking, without telling, without a second thought, let me tell you about my cousin, Myra. Myra is my mother's sister's daughter. We grew up together, same neighborhood, same school for a few years. I want to be fair, Myra and I were never close, not enemies, not close friends. Just cousins who saw each other at family events and kept a polite distance. But Myra was always, how do I say this carefully, the favorite. My mother's sister, Myra's mother, my aunt, she and my mother have always been extremely close. Whatever my aunt wanted, my mother made it happen. If my aunt needed help, my mother was first at the door. If my aunt's family had an event, my mother was involved before anyone asked. I used to call my mother my aunt's personal assistant, not kindly. Myra's wedding was announced 4 months ago. Big wedding, large guest list. My aunt wanted everything perfect. Apparently, somewhere in the wedding planning, Myra had not found a dress she liked. And my aunt mentioned to my mother, nothing is working for Myra. She needs something really special. And my mother, without calling me, without texting me, without one single moment of hesitation, went to my wardrobe and took out my dress and gave it to my aunt for Myra's wedding. I did not know. For 4 months, I did not know. I found out the night before Myra's wedding. And the way I found out made everything 10 times worse. It was Joe PM the night before Myra's wedding. I was at home, my own home, not my parents'. My husband was watching something in the other room. I was on my phone, just scrolling, relaxed. A message came in from a cousin. Hina, we are close. She tells me things. The message said, "Hey, random question. Did you give Myra your wedding dress? She's wearing something that looks exactly like yours. I saw it when I went for the dolki earlier. Aunt just wanted to check. Did you know about this? I read that message 3 times." And then I typed back, "What do you mean?" Hina sent a photo, my dress, my ivory and gold dress, with the hand embroidery, the one I had saved 4 months for, the one I had wrapped carefully in tissue paper, hanging in Myra's room with Myra's wedding jewelry laid out next to it. I put my phone face down on the bed. I sat very still for about a minute, then I got up. Went to my wardrobe, rocking the back section where I kept it empty, just the hanger. And the faint smell of the tissue paper, I called my mother, "Mother." She picked up on the second ring, happy voice, busy wedding eve energy. I said, "Mom." "Where is my wedding dress?" Donned not a question, a statement, silence for 2 seconds. Then she said, "Oh, Beta, I meant to tell you." I said, "When did you take it?" Rodendel, she said, "Myra needed something and nothing was working, and you never wear it and it was just sitting there and I thought you wouldn't mind." I said, "You thought I wouldn't mind." Puddle, she said, "It's just a dress, Beta, just a dress." I felt something go very quiet inside me. Not rage, not tears, just clarity. I said, "Okay, Mom, I'll talk to you tomorrow." Dinda and I hung up. My husband had heard some of the conversation. He came to the doorway and looked at me. "Hey," he said, "what are you going to do?" I looked at my phone, and I looked at the venue name on Hina's message, and I said, "I'm going to make a phone call." Desdal, I want to be very honest with you about what I was thinking in that moment. I was not thinking about revenge. I was not thinking about ruining anyone's day. I was thinking about one thing. That dress belonged to me. It was taken without my permission, and I had every right to get it back. I searched for the venue online, found their contact number. It was Joel Censure PM, late, but wedding venues always have someone available the night before an event. Someone picked up. I gave them the booking name. I confirmed I was calling about tomorrow's wedding. And then I said, "I need to report that an item belonging to me has been taken without my permission and is currently at your venue. It is a dress, ivory and gold, hand embroidered. It was removed from my home without my knowledge or consent. I am not looking to cause disruption. I am simply letting you know that the dress being used in tomorrow's wedding was not given, it was taken. And I will be coming tomorrow to collect my property." The person on the line was quiet for a moment. Then they said they would note it and inform the event coordinator. I thanked them. I hung up. My husband was sitting across from me now. He said, "Are you actually going to go tomorrow?" I said, "Yes, but not to make a scene, to get what is mine." He looked at me for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. He said, "Then I'm coming with you." Dined, "That is the man I married." And he didn't say, "Are you sure?" He didn't say, "Maybe let it go." He just said, "I'm coming with you. I slept that night, not easily, but I slept because I had a plan. And people with plans always sleep better than people who just cry." The wedding was at 6 p.m. We arrived at 5 before most guests. Before the chaos of a full wedding crowd, the venue coordinator recognized my name from the call the night before. She came to us quietly, professional calm. She said, "We informed the family this morning that there was a query about the dress. They are aware you are coming." Dindoso, my mother knew, my aunt knew, Myra knew. And they had said nothing to me, no call, no message, no apology. We were guided to a small waiting area. 5 minutes later, my mother came. She looked flustered. Behind her, my aunt, expression tight. "Yakam," my mother started immediately. Beta, why did you call the venue? This is so embarrassing. It's just a dress. You're making this into such a big thing. I held up one hand. I said, Mom, I am not here to argue. I am here to collect my dress. That is all. Kendall, my aunt, stepped forward, her voice sharp. The wedding is in 1 hour. Myra is already getting ready. You cannot do this today. Then I looked at my aunt directly. I said, with respect, you have had 4 months to ask me for this dress. 4 months to call me. Okay, 4 months to give me the choice. Nobody called, nobody asked, nobody thought I deserved to know. So today, with 1 hour to go, this is the situation we are all in together, not because of me. Because of the decision that was made without me. Dined, my aunt looked at my mother. Hugh, my mother looked at the floor, then, from down the corridor, Myra appeared, still in a robe, not yet dressed. She had clearly been listening. She looked at me, I looked at her, and then Myra did something I genuinely did not expect. She said, "She's right, I knew it was her dress." I should have said no when Auntie offered it. I didn't, and that was wrong. Down the corridor went very quiet. And then Myra said, "I'll wear something else. Please take your dress." Gord, her mother, started to protest. Myra looked at her and said, "Mom, stop. We were wrong. That's it." Dawn stilled in that moment. I felt my anger shift slightly. Not disappear, not forgive everything instantly, but shift. Because Myra, who I had never been close to, showed more dignity in that one moment than the adults around her had shown in 4 entire months. I took my dress. We left before the wedding began. I did not stay. I did not want to. And I bake Keating. In the car on the way home, I held the dress on my lap, still in the same bag. And, still carefully wrapped, my husband drove, said nothing for a while. Then he said, "How do you feel?" "De Myrtle, I thought about it honestly," I said, tired, but okay. He nodded. My mother called that evening. And she was upset, not apologetic, upset that I had gone to the venue, upset that it had become a situation. She said, "You humiliated the family today." I said, "Mom, someone took something from my home without asking me. I simply went to collect it. If that caused humiliation, the humiliation belongs to the decision that started all of this, not to me." Mazardal, she went quiet. We did not speak properly for 2 weeks. Those 2 weeks were uncomfortable. But I did not break first because I had done nothing wrong. After 2 weeks, my mother came to my house. She sat down. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I should have asked you. Ken, I thought you wouldn't mind, but I should have asked. I'm sorry. That was it. No big speech, no dramatic moment. I should have asked. I'm sorry. I accepted it. Not because everything was immediately perfect, but because she said the right words and meant them. Here is what this whole situation taught me. Your belongings are yours. Your memories are yours. Your choices are yours. It does not matter how much someone loves you. Love does not give anyone the right to make decisions about your life without your knowledge. Not your mother, not your family, not anyone. And when someone crosses that line, you are allowed to draw it back calmly, firmly, without apology. You do not have to scream. You do not have to beg. You do not have to accept that your things, your feelings, your story are less important than someone else's convenience. Make the call, have the conversation, hold the line. You are allowed to, If this story felt familiar to you, if you have ever had someone make a decision about your life without asking, drop a comment below. Okay, just tell me what happened. 1 sentence is enough. Subscribe if you are new here. I share real stories every week. And share this video with one person who needs to hear that. It is okay to hold your line. Your story matters. Your things matter. You matter. See you in the next one.